Hello beauties, I wanted to come on here today to talk a little bit around energy alchemy in the child archetype. Facebook always pops up and does this weird thing whenever I come on. I don't know what it is. Anyway, yeah, because I've been doing a lot of work on this myself, and if you don't know, it's one of the Carl Jung's there's four. There's actually, I think it's actually like 12 in total, but you have the survival archetypes, and then from there you have the kind of more achieving, striving archetypes. So child is the first one, and I've written a little bit about it in the description of this video, but I just want to talk you through the story that I've been going through the past, well, it's been going on for years, but more deeply and integratingly the past few weeks or so for me. So I have been in my child energy for quite a long time, and there's different types of child energy as well, and I would say that I'm definitely a combination of the wounded child and the eternal child. And I'll talk a little bit about it because, so the wounded child, to me, I didn't have a great childhood, so that's the reason why there's a huge abandonment wound for me there, right? And we all have that. I think we all have, we either want to be loved or we either need to be loved or love to be needed. And a lot of codependents fit into that category, one or the other. And a lot of my relationships have fit like that because they've been dysfunctional, because I've relied on other people. And I think it's been really interesting to see, for me, going through this shadow work, when that need, it became an obsession, an addiction, and something that I couldn't let go of, even though I knew it wasn't something that was helping me. So I did a bit of work on this yesterday, and it really comes down to the tribe mentality of like wanting to be accepted, needing to be loved, needing to be accepted, needing to be part of a family. And yeah, that's all child energy. So I did a little bit of alchemizing on this yesterday, and I'm going to explain how you can kind of work your way through this if you feel like there is still some child energy in there. So I have been in and out because of my own mental health, an age regressor, in the sense of, for me, it's not a cool thing. It wasn't a cool thing before. Now I choose to do it because it doesn't, like, it de-stresses me. But I notice that when I come out of that headspace, it's really, really difficult for me to stand up on my own 2 feet and be an adult. And I noticed a lot of the shadow that was coming from around there was this want and this need for attention. It's just any attention. I would just like crave it so much. And it doesn't matter who it's from anyone and everyone. Like as many people as I can get attention from. But it's a very, very childish way. Shit testing people is a very, very childish way to get attention. It's a very sad and very extreme way to want to be loved, right? It comes from a really low place of self-worth. And I did that for so many years in all of my relationships, for so many years. And I think that when I looked at it, that's where it was coming from. So this is what I did with that whole, so I thought to myself, why am I feeling like this? And it was, if I don't have this, if I don't play this role, if I don't act this way, then I won't get attention, right? So then I started to use the so what method. So this is alchemizing that idea. So the so what method is, but I wrote down here, but if I lose attention, so what? Then I won't feel important. So what? Then I won't feel needed. So what? Then I'll feel alone. So what? Then I'll feel abandoned. So what? Then I'll feel heartache. So what? Then I won't develop. So what? Then I won't achieve. So what? Then I won't fit in. So what? Then I'll be left on the outside. So there's two main wounds there. The need to be fitted in, so not wanting to be abandoned, and also that deep need to achieve. All of this really fits back to that tribe mentality stuff, and not being able to step outside the box and be independent, not having a dependency on somebody else. What it gave me, when I look at it, is a less responsibility, safety, a feeling of innocence, a feeling of being accepted, and also there's slight shadow of like manipulation in there, a little bit of cohesion, because who can be angry at a little girl, right? No one really, apart from me. And that's what I found so fascinating. But yeah, there was this sneak behind it after a while, that I kind of knew what I was doing. And there was a lot of shame around being small, and a lot of rage behind my demands and not wanting to grow up. And it was, showing that vulnerability, that I had a space to come out. And yeah, realised that I can be honest, actually, and say that I do really like attention, rather than using it as another form of like an imbalance of strength and dominance and stride. And this all comes into like an imbalance of the masculine and the feminine, and the yin and the yang, and I'll go into that kind of in the next video, because that's something that I noticed that came out from this, was why did I hide in that energy for such a long time? Because I couldn't have a magic man within me, because I couldn't have a strong masculine within me, so I had to go and search for it out externally in a different place. So yeah, a little bit of food for thought there. So what I'd like to know from this video is, which child do you identify with the most? And I'll talk a little bit about the other ones as well, because we've got the orphan child, which is more the one that had to be independent very early on, and a lot of this comes into either living from fear or love. And if you've still got a lot of child energy, you're going to be living in fear. But there's also this element of like this innocence as well. So the magical and innocent child, that's the child that believes everything is beautiful and enchanted and has embodied qualities and wisdom and courage. But there is shadow aspects to every single one of these survival archetypes. And that's why I love Jung's work for all of this sort of stuff, but it can really take you deeper into your shadow to see where that's coming from, and how are you still speaking from your child energy? Are you still blaming the world for your own responsibilities or your own mistakes, or not taking responsibility, placing it onto somebody else when it's something that you couldn't do yourself, because it's easier to get somebody else to do it? And I think what surprised me the most was the level of cohesion and manipulative and the power that a child can have. So much so because the child, not just in kind of a medial context, has a lot of light. There's a lot of light and a lot of energy and a lot of playfulness and a lot of sense of purpose. The people that seek the child energy, they want to be around it all the time and want to delve in this sort of like magic. There's a magic within it. You know, it's really for sort of dreamers, and yeah, I think that once we know the what type of child we are, we can see ways in which we can grow from that. And if you're noticing that language, maybe just write it down and try the so what method, and just keep going, just keep writing so what, so what, so what, so what, so what, so what, and what comes out at the end, that's where the deep rooted stuff is. And there's around 6 things that all human beings want, and one of them is the need to be accepted, and the need to be in a tribe, and the need to feel part of a group, because it's scary, right? That's where survival archetypes come from. Because not being part of a tribe, if we were back, you know, before when we were cavemen and women, not being part of a tribe, we would be casted out. That would mean death. It would be the ultimate. So that's why it's so important for us to feel part of a group, and we will do anything, our shadow will move, our ego will move, any kind of construct to be able to fit into that group, no matter how manipulative it is, no matter how, you know, enabling it is. So yeah, if you are watching this on the watch back, do leave something in the comments, and I would love to know what you resonate with, as I've told you mine. What child is it that you resonate with the most? And if you do alchemize your child energy through the so what method, what is it? What's the main thing, the deep rooted thing that come up for you? Because sometimes we really have to dig deep into the shadow to get to that core root, and it can really teach us something about ourselves, and we can start to look at it and go, oh, that's where that was coming from, and I didn't know that was there. So yeah, I'm going to sign off. I hope you all have a fantastic day, and yeah, I look forward to your responses.